Mark Williams doesn't do fake smiles or polite handshakes. The three-time world champion has burned more bridges than he's built, turning fellow pros into sworn enemies with his brutal honesty. From icy studio standoffs to Twitter wars, Williams has made it clear he plays snooker his way, and if you don't like it, he doesn't care. Here are the 5 players Mark Williams hates. Starting at number 5, we have Ken Doherty, the 1997 world champion from Ireland. This one's different from the others because it's quiet, subtle, and nobody really knows what caused it. Online discussions among snooker fans frequently mention that Mark Williams and Ken Doherty have a particular dislike for each other. They've never been close. Their history includes some painful moments for Doherty. Williams beat him 18-16 in the 2003 World Championship final after a dramatic comeback from 16-16. That kind of loss can leave scars. Earlier, Williams had also taken the 2000 UK Championship final from Doherty 10-9. There's speculation about what drives the tension. Some point to Doherty's autobiography, where he criticised Williams' scruffy appearance. Others mention a comment Doherty made back in 2003 that apparently offended Williams. Despite the underlying friction, they managed to stay professional. Doherty has even praised Williams' ability to play at the highest level despite having eyesight problems, saying, "That just makes it all the more remarkable, doesn't it? I don't know how he does it." The rivalry between these two seems more about personality clashes than explosive incidents. Williams' laid-back, scruffy style contrasts sharply with Doherty's articulate, polished demeanor. They can share a studio without fireworks, but don't expect them to grab a pint together afterward. Moving up to number 4, we have John Higgins, the 4-time world champion who shares the longest rivalry with Williams. Now, this one's less about personal hatred and more about competitive exhaustion and frustration with constant comparisons. Higgins and Williams are part of the legendary class of '92, along with Ronnie O'Sullivan. They turned professional in the same year and have been battling each other for 3 decades. Higgins himself has admitted they are civil, but we've never been close, because you've always been fighting for titles with. That sums up their relationship perfectly. It's not warm, it's not friendly, it's just professional. Williams genuinely dislikes being lumped into the class of '92 because he views both Higgins and O'Sullivan as superior players. He stated repeatedly that he's miles behind them and doesn't deserve to be grouped together. He's even suggested Higgins might be tired of the comparison too. The constant narrative that equates them eats at Williams, feeding his self-doubt and frustration.
John's getting a bit greyer. I think he's a bit bolder. just for men's work in
Not yet.
yeah.
And I tell you what, you're not playing bad for a blind man either, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I got
Their battles have produced some of snooker's greatest matches. Williams won the 2018 World Championship final against Higgins 18-16, and in 2025 he edged past Higgins 13-12 in a quarter-final thriller. After that 2025 match, Williams called Higgins an old pal, showing there's still some warmth beneath the competitive distance. The rivalry started in junior circuits and has spanned over 70 professional matches. They respect each other's abilities, with Higgins saying, "You respect them, yeah, they're unbelievable players, but respect them doesn't mean friendship." The decades of competing for the same titles, combined with Williams feeling overshadowed by Higgins' achievements, has created a professional distance that neither seems interested in closing. At number 3 sits Ronnie O'Sullivan, widely regarded as snooker's greatest player with 8 world titles. So the relationship between Williams and O'Sullivan is complicated, blending admiration with genuine anger at O'Sullivan's big mouth. The breaking point came during the 2020 World Championship. O'Sullivan, in typical fashion, decided to insult half the tour in one interview. He said, "People like me, John Higgins and Mark Williams, if you look at the younger players coming through, they're not that good really. Most of them would do well as half-decent amateurs, not even amateurs. They are so bad. That is why we are still hovering around, because of how poor it is down that end." He added he'd need to lose an arm and a leg to fall out of the top 50. Williams felt included in the criticism and went straight to BBC Sport to fire back. "He's including me in that. You'd never have another top sportsman in their field sort of disrespecting or slagging off the rest of the tour. There's no one on the tour that's as good as him, but it's unfair to class everyone else in his standards. And for him to have a go at the lower-ranked players, I think it's a bit naughty."
I don't agree with some of the stuff you just see. I mean, most of the stuff you just see is total nonsense. about other players and stuff like that. We're all trying our best. We can't all be as good as him.
Williams has always had mixed feelings about O'Sullivan. He calls him by far the best player ever, but he hates being grouped in the class of '92. He feels miles behind O'Sullivan and Higgins and doesn't think he deserves to be mentioned in the same breath. He's even suggested that O'Sullivan might be sick of it too. Their relationship swings wildly between admiration and annoyance. In 2024, O'Sullivan said Williams could be the best player ever if he wasn't so distracted by golf. Williams has poked fun at O'Sullivan's form slumps and his habit of smashing cues, joking that maybe it's all part of a master plan. The tension comes from their contrasting personalities. O'Sullivan loves making headlines and stirring controversy. Williams hates doing interviews and would rather stay out of the spotlight. They've battled each other for 30 years, first meeting at the Crucible in 2006. Their history blends intense competition with genuine respect. But when O'Sullivan opens his mouth and groups Williams with players he's insulting, you can see the hate bubble up. Coming in at number 2 is Stephen Hendry, the Scottish legend with 7 World Championships and 36 ranking titles. This feud showcases the classic battle between the retired legend turned critic and the active competitor who's tired of hearing it. The rivalry exploded in 2022 during the World Championship. Williams was preparing to face Jackson Page, his protege, in the last 16, and the two had been practicing together. Hendry went on air and told Page to stay away from Williams, calling their joint training sessions nonsense. Williams fired back on social media, calling Hendry an idiot. Then he went out and destroyed Page 13-3 in their match, proving his point on the table. But Hendry kept coming. After Williams lost 4-1 to Rory Thor at the British Open while testing a new cue, Hendry tore into him from the commentary box. He called the performance horrific and mocked the cue change. I hope he was paid nicely because it's going to derail his season. It sounded horrific and his play was horrific. It was very, very bad. Williams didn't hold back. He branded Hendry a tit on Twitter. Then, after beating Jamie Clark 4-0 at the Northern Ireland Open, he delivered a brutal response to Eurosport. It's easy in the commentary box, isn't it? We've seen his comeback and how that ended up. He can't say too much. Perhaps he should use a new cue, might play a bit better. That last line cut deep. Hendry had attempted a comeback in 2020, but retired again after struggling badly, describing his own play as embarrassing. Williams was reminding everyone that critics have the luxury of hindsight without facing the pressure of competition.
A wry smile on Stephen Hendry's face, rapturous applause, but this young man, we're on a re-spotted black.
The two also have unresolved history from their playing days. Back in 2003, Hendry accused Williams of twitching on a black ball shot during a match. Williams has denied it for over 20 years, and the accusation still bothers him. Their rivalry represents a clash between generations. The retired great, who now picks apart performances from a comfortable chair, and the 50-year-old still grinding it out on tour, resenting every single criticism. Taking the top spot is Darren Morgan, a former Welsh snooker player who peaked in the top 10 during the 1990s. This feud is the most personal, the most bitter, and the one with absolutely no hope of resolution. What began as a simple social media comment in 2018 has turned into complete radio silence between two men who used to be friends. The trouble started during the Welsh Open when Morgan and another player received wildcards into the main draw despite losing in qualifiers. This decision bumped out Jackson Page, a young prospect Williams mentors like his own son. Frustrated by what he saw as an unfair decision, Williams took to social media with a sarcastic jab. Morgan v Richards in the Welsh. That should bring the crowds in. Morgan didn't take it well. He went straight to BBC Sport Wales and called Williams a keyboard warrior and cyberbully. Morgan told reporters, "You can't fault Mark as a player. We've all blocked him on social media. He thinks it's a bit of banter, but there's consequences to everything people do and say. Where he thinks it's banter, to a lot of people it's cyberbullying. He's abusing his position. He's a bully." Williams was stunned. The two had socialized in the past. Williams had even attended Morgan's wedding and stag trip. He thought they were on good terms. But after those public comments, Williams drew a line in the sand. He vowed never to speak to Morgan again, saying there was no coming back from that. The feud reached peak awkwardness at the 2025 Welsh Open. After Williams beat Florian Nuessel in the first round, he had to share a BBC Wales studio with Morgan. Morgan tried to break the ice with a simple question about whether Williams was enjoying his game more in his later years. Williams crossed his arms, refused to make eye contact, and delivered two cold words: "No comment." The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Williams later described it as iced more than frosty.
No comment.
Oh, right, okay.
The big
yeah. I mean, it must be amazing to be able to play to the standard.
Morgan has since expressed regret during a 2024 BBC Framed podcast. He admitted, "If I could go back, I'd have done things differently. He's one of my favourite snooker players of all time." But Williams hasn't softened one bit. The damage is done, and in the tight-knit world of Welsh snooker, this rivalry continues to cast a shadow over tournaments and media appearances. Williams feels betrayed by someone he considered a friend, and that kind of hurt doesn't heal easily. Mark Williams has never played politics, and these 5 feuds prove it. Love him or hate him, Williams stays true to himself. Which rivalry shocked you the most? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more snooker drama you won't find anywhere